The new Bambin Chronicles Episode 3 is out now. And no one expected it, but it's about Stinger Flynn. Most people thought it would be Bitterjiggle. I think the next one will be Bitterjiggle cause Stinger Flynn is the third episode, and the main character of the third game. And Sharif Toaster and Bitterjiggle are the main characters of 4. So it's most likely the next one to be the Sharif or the Jester. But enough talking, let's find these secrets.
This,
just like in every episode, it buzzing with this dark room and brown floor with the character chilling, and Bitterjiggle saying their old names. So let's hear them.
is Oscar Star. Hold on, this is a jellyfish we're talking about. How is he a star?
One of his old names was Oscar Starts, and don't get me wrong, it sounds pretty good. But not on this character. It does not really fit him.
Nah, this is Stingeruno.
And yes, I do think Stingeruno sounds better than Stinger Flynn. Stingeruno just sounds more creative. And I can see him naming himself Runo. It does fit.
Wait, that's not the official name? Stinger Flynn, as with the majority of the Garden of Banban characters, has a rich history of how he came to be, and I'm here to discuss with you the secrets of our beloved psychic jellyfish. The Garden of Banban cast each have their own detailed story.
And now the intro comes, and as always, we already analyzed it a lot in the Bambin video, the first chronicle. So let's just skip. How'd you want to see me analyze the scene? Then watch the Bambin one.
Stinger Flynn, despite being arguably one of the simpler characters to draw and visualize,
I do agree Stinger is one of the most simplest character. But in my opinion, the most simple one is actually Captain Fiddles Don't Know Why.
Has probably gone through the most changes during development out of any of the other characters.
Yeah, I can see
this
that.
Episode of the Banban Chronicles one of the juicier entries. Every stage of development for this character has been strange.
And oh my gosh, this is a joke, but look at these. Stinger Flynn here has 2 eyes which just looks off. But then we got Stinger Flynn with shoes one. That is pretty drip, not gonna lie. And then we got Stinger Flynn head, but in his head he has a nose and a pack of glasses. LOL, what am I looking at? These are easy to be missed.
From the decision to even add him to the game to the decision to make him a jellyfish. This photo was taken on October 15th, 2022. Notice anything missing from it?
This proves that Garden of Bambin Bra was actually in development in 2022. Some people thought it was 2023, since it came out in that year. But no, they started working on 2022. Pretty cool, right?
Or should I say, anyone missing from it? That's right. Stinger Flynn was the last mascot to be added to the game of the original 6.
Also, fun fact, he used to be my favorite, but now it's Juno Josh and, of course, Bitterjiggle.
The mural involving Jumbo Josh, Bambolina, Banban, Opila Bird, and Captain Fiddles really felt like it could use another character whose color would complement the existing colors. And just like that, the Euphoric Brothers were back to the drawing board.
Fun fact about the Euphoric Brothers. They talked to me on their Discord server. I got so happy with knowing they know me.
The majority of concepts that were proposed for this new character have been lost to time, but 2 have survived. The first was Humble Bee, a simple bee character whose purpose was to teach children the importance of staying humble.
Sadly, they haven't drawn the bee character, but they had it in mind. Which sounds interesting. They also made an unofficial wall mirror. And it says, Humble Bee says, sit down, be humble. It's not official though, but it is cool to look at.
And also whose name is a play on the word bumblebee. Feeling Humblebee wasn't unique enough, it was quickly taken off the table. Sorry, Humblebee. Second, however, was a concept that came very close to becoming what Stinger Flynn is today. Enter Oscar Star.
Here we get another old character design. He looks very weird. I don't like it, gonna be honest. It does not fit in kindergarten, so I think that's why they scraped him. Some things were used for different characters, like the eye from Stinger, arms from the Syringeon, and stack of teeth is Nab-Nab. And those characters do look good.
An orange, six-armed, one-eyed tower of teeth that would tower over the player.
Not glad he got replaced with Stinger.
The reason Oscar Star was scrapped was the exact opposite of why Humble Bee was scrapped. Oscar Star had too many defining features. He had 6 arms, 1 eye, and was a tower of teeth. He was absolutely goated with the sauce, so instead of completely scrapping Oscar Star, his features were shared between 3 different characters. Stinger Flynn got the 1 eye, an earlier concept of Nab-Nab became the Tower of Teeth, and much later on, an earlier concept of Syringeon got the multiple arms. Remember him? Remember that guy? From the last episode? You keeping notes? Yeah.
And that might be a hint that the next episode could also be about Nab-Nab. Hear me out, okay. So the second episode was about Syringeon, who we see here. The third was about Stinger, we also see him here. But Banban does not have an episode yet, so I think the next episode, it either Nab-Nab. Bitterjiggle or Sharif Toadster, let me know which character do you think is about episode 4.
These 3 characters, despite their minimal interactions with each other in the games, are spiritually connected through Oscar Star. Ultimately, the decision was made to add the one-eyed orange jellyfish to Garten of Banban 1 and save the spider for later. And thus, Stingeruno was born, as he was nicknamed after first being added to the game, a name that one can still find in the game files.
That's
This
interesting.
last-minute addition jellyfish would later become the main antagonist of an unused script for the first game, where his giant tentacles and 1 eye would stalk you throughout the kindergarten.
That would be pretty cool. We already know this about Stinger, because they said it in the first episode real quick, but not with this much detail. I would love to see some sort of screenshot on how it would look in the future.
For the most part, the game would have played out similarly to the Garten of Banban 1 available today. But some of the puzzles would have involved finding different ways to have Stinger Flynn move his tentacles away from doorways that he would be blocking. Think Cyan Fiddles from Garten of Banban 2, only it's the giant Stinger Flynn before he was shrunk. This was all before being replaced by the final Garten of Banban 1 script we know today, where Opila Bird and Jumbo Josh take
Mostly
the
Opila,
spotlight,
though.
and Stinger
Jumbo
Flynn
was there
retains
not
minimal
even a
role
minute.
of being a wall mural and giving words of kindness. If you compare the Stinger Flynn that you can see now on the Garten of Banban 3 poster to the one that you actually see in the games, you might notice a few differences.
Yes, I do. And fun fact, I used to point this out a lot. But my YouTube channel was not born yet at that time, so I don't have any video of saying it. But yeah, at the time, I felt like I was the only person that was the changes. Glad it's officially said now.
The eye on the model of the poster is less circular and more rectangular in shape, and Stinger Flynn actually has mistakenly 8 arms here. A mistake that the Euphoric brothers made sure not to repeat when creating the model for Stinger Flynn in Garten of Banban
Cool.
Punch Rush.
I am
this
sorry,
version of Stinger
but
Flynn
I
that you
actually forgot that Pooch Rush existed.
see on the poster is actually a very early version of the same model created during the development of Garten of Banban 2, and later updated during the development of Garten of Banban 3.
He also has that brown spot there, which was not in the banner.
The eye was made rounder and the number of arms were reduced to 6 to accommodate the 6-legged wall mural. 2 decisions that actually turned out to be very helpful during development. Because, given the anatomy of Stinger Flynn, the Euphoric brothers find that he is easily the hardest character to animate. Any movement of Stinger Flynn requires keeping track of all 6 of his tentacles and making sure each and every one moves in a natural way.
Yeah, I can see that.
This naturally makes Stinger Flynn more complicated to animate than any of the other characters, and having 8 tentacles instead of 6 would have only added more complexity to any movement involving the character. In addition to this, Stinger Flynn's eye being rounder meant we could program it so that it rotates around itself.
Fun fact about that. Everyone has that eye-rotating animation except Sir Dadadoo, Zolphius, and Captain Fiddles. Sir Dadadoo and Zolphius are pretty logical since they don't have pupils. But I have no idea why Captain doesn't have that.
Allowing the Euphoric brothers to make it follow the player. Speaking of Stinger Flynn's features, did you know that Stinger Flynn is voiced by Ferris, the blue of the Euphoric brothers?
I did not know that actually, but that does mean that Stinger Flynn actually talked to me.
Similar to how Ban is voiced by Geppo, the
Yeah, I
purple
did
of the
know
Euphoric
that, though.
brothers. Okay, maybe you knew that one, but did you also know that as of Garten of Ban 7, besides the player and the drone, Stinger Flynn is the only other playable character? You actually get to play as Stinger Flynn in 2 of the dream sequences in Garten of Ban 3, during which you are also introduced to a new mechanic not seen anywhere else in the game, where as Stinger Flynn you are capable of shooting electricity through your tentacles in order to traverse puzzles. Please do let the Euphoric brothers know in the comments if you would like to see this mechanic reappear in future games.
Yeah, do that, guys. I personally think it's pretty alright, the mechanic. So also let me know in the comments, alright?
Stinger Flynn's ability to shoot electricity out of his tentacles is not mentioned too many times throughout any of the games. But did you know that this wasn't always the case?
Here we have another secret, and it's from the Stinger. Flynn says text bubble. It says, lightning bolt shoots from my tentacles, and I said because we don't really get to see what it says, but I think it said fingertips.
Within the kingdom in Garten of Ban 4, there exists the infirmary.
I think Ban 4, or still my
inside
favorite,
the infirmary
not
are
gonna
all
lie.
of the prisoners that Sheriff Toadster manages to capture throughout the game. For each holding cell, the player is able to play a recording that has been put together by Sheriff Toadster to document his findings in respect to each prisoner. A collection of recordings that he calls the Toadster Archives.
Jeez, Ty Coker is such a good voice actor. That's the perfect imitation of the Sharif, not gonna lie.
There's a recording for Opelabird and Tardabird, a recording for Bambolina, a recording for Slow Celine, a recording for Jumbo Josh, but not one for Stinger Flynn, despite also having his own cell. Initially, however, Stinger Flynn was also meant to have a recording of his own in the Toadster Archives collection, which would have detailed how Sheriff Toadster got electricity shot at him a few times while trying to capture Stinger Flynn after the events of Garten of Ban 3. However, feeling that there were enough
Bitterjiggle turns into the Sharif, cause he dies star impressions, but oh boy does this look funny as heck. Bitterjiggle with the Sharif as head. This is just way too easy to miss since I doesn't not even appear a second, but no you know.
Toadster Archives entries in the game, and that the Stinger Flynn recording wouldn't have added much in the way of interesting lore, the idea for the recording was scrapped. But this wasn't the only instance where something related to Stinger Flynn was removed from a game. During 2 of the dream sequences that take place in Garten of Ban 3, one of the very few vehicles to ever make an appearance in any Garten of Ban game can be seen. Stinger Flynn's very own, the Stinger Mobile.
Now we got an official name for the car, and it's the Stinger Mobile, and it sounds very fire, not gonna lie.
This is the car that's parked beside Stinger Flynn during his monologue about reaching the beach, and the same one that all of the characters take a ride in later on in the game before it crashes into a piece of cactus. This car was originally scripted to appear in the first street of City Engine that you enter in Garten of Ban 7 as a reference to the fan-favorite car sequence of Garten of Ban 3. Realizing that this would not make much sense lore-wise, the car was removed from the map entirely, which actually happened only a few days before the public release of the game. But who knows, maybe the Stinger Mobile will reappear in future games. Wait, what's that jellyfish doing to us?
The episode always ends up with the characters running into you, or slapping you, like with Bambin and the surgeon. But Stinger Flynn never did that in the game. So they made this new animation, which looks pretty alright.
Stay tuned for the next episode of the Ban Chronicles, where the secrets and history of another character will be revealed.
We now got even more evidence pointing at Bitterjiggle being the next one. Cause if you play the clip in slow motion, you see all the characters one time, but you see Bitterjiggle 5 times. So it's probably him, and I am excited. If it's him, I hope the 5th episode could be about Jumbo Josh. Here is more Bitterjiggle.
Revealed. Comment down below which character you want to learn more about next.
We even got some Bitterjiggles there. And mostly it's just one Bitterjiggle in the outrow.
And keep on banning.
And yes, keep on banning because the video
Play
is
as
over.
Stinger Flynn in two
Thank
of the
you for
dream
watching.
sequences in
I
Garden of
appreciate
Banban
it.
3.
Goodbye.